What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing well. My name is Lamont. I've been a full-time trader for 6 years now. I'm part of the Chart Guys team for about half that time, where I head up our futures room and, of course, our swing report. In this video, we'll go over a few of the private ideas that were shared with our subscribers last week, and then also update you guys on some trade ideas going forward, particularly ARM. Looks pretty interesting. So let's get into it. Whoops, that's a private one, but so um, it shouldn't be a big deal. That one's already like in play. So starting off with Microsoft here. Microsoft was an idea that we published back in December, the end of December here, and it was just based on the idea that this little guy over here, this little 3-day balance, 4-day balance, whatever, it's drawn on the hourly time frame. That's why it's not aligned perfectly. There you have it drawn on the hourly. It's pretty much exactly what held price here. So the idea was just bottom fishing off of this daily range, thinking, okay, well, if we test this guy again, that should be the beginning of the trade zone, as it's already proven to be important. And the lows of this trade zone, roughly 349.99, pretty much based off of the prior record high, right? Because this structure we know is going to be key. Perfect rejection from the value area low. You move out over here. Perfect rejection from the value area low. Back test the value area low. Rejection from the point of control, rejection from the value area high, hold the value area low, breakout, no follow through, grind the POC, try to hold the POC back test, high of days that point of control, etc. Just basically, look at that POC rejection. Basically, the market was letting us know that there was a clear battle for this structure, multiple POC rejections on this daily balance, and then finally, when you hold a nice little back test intraday of this, boom, that's the launching pad. So the idea was then, as long as price is holding over the highs of this guy, and especially if they're holding over this fella, then they would be doing just fine. Now, you're probably wondering, Lamont, it didn't come into trade zone. Why are you talking about this? Well, first off, so that I can flex Andre. Andre was one of our older, not older as an age, but he's one of our longer term subscribers. He's been a subscriber for some time now, I believe. I believe he was a String Report subscriber before he joined our Slack community. Now he's in our Slack community and messaging me in the pre-market, asking, hey, listen, is Microsoft candidate for the open play, the session to session open play? And when I saw that message, I was looking through the charts. I was about to do my futures rundown, and I was going to write about Microsoft for our String Report subscribers who trade more actively, to give them a more, a more zoomed in trade setup. Because with the String Report, we like to cover all our bases. I'll give you this bigger picture trade zone, but for more active traders who want to do more activity, right, then I'll give you guys trade zones in the pre-market as well. So that's just part of what we do in this report. And so shout out to Andre. I love to see this kind of a thing. I really do, because to me, it's so validating, right? It lets me know that people aren't just here to try to, follow along or whatever, which is fine. I'm not saying that's wrong, but that you're actually learning this stuff and that you're able to employ these tactics for yourself. That is our goal. And so honestly, warms my heart. It makes me feel so good. So anyway, it's better than nailing a trade. It's like infinitely better than nailing a trade. You trade long enough, and it just becomes another trade. Some are drawdowns, some are gains. Is whatever. It's just business as usual. But when you make an impact on someone's abilities, right? That means everything to me. So that's what we do here at the Chart Guys. And if you're interested in that, links below. Blah blah blah. Check us out. We're pretty neat. I don't know. Anyway, so the trade zone that was shared on this day was on Wednesday. I guess I should have shared the date on that too. Hang on a second here. Lost it. Here we go. So that was Wednesday, January 10th. Not sure why it was so small this time. Okay. And so, on the same day, String Report subscribers, you guys got this alert. Microsoft didn't come into our trade zone, but scapping up over here, potentially over all of these resistances. And so this was the trade zone that we shared. And of course, that shook out quite well. We only got the one fill, but I just bought the open on it. So, pretty decent size. Bought the open. We walk you through the profit targets as well. Let's see. Okay, so I walk you through where to take some profits. Let's see. Here we go. Walk a stop. Blah blah blah. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's over here. Take some profits. Blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. So it's all We're trying to do our best to give you the most salient information, update you on the trade ideas, etc. So that is that's pretty much it. We just wanted to include this to show you guys what we do around here on the swing report, and also because this trade's already hit the target. It's still very reasonable for a follow-up trade. Anything over 366.50 is going to be good for a daily higher low. And if you wanted to, if you're interested, right, in this for a follow-up play, then doing something like this is totally reasonable. Totally reasonable. So this kind of an updated idea that I'm sharing with you right now is also one of the things that we do regularly in the trade zone, in the swing report, as you can see for our next now public idea. Even though it hasn't played out yet and it hasn't gone to the target, I just wanted to share it because, well, it just does a good job of showing again what we do around here. So for ETN, for ETN, there's no updates for it. For ETN, we just mentioned that in last week's video, we gave you guys this one, right? So the trade zone, the original trade zone for ETN was down here. Let me show you. It was down here. Okay, now, hang on, let me see here. It was this fella here. Now, it didn't come into our trade zone, but in last week's update video for private members, for private members, we sent out an updated trade zone because even if a name is stronger than anticipated, it just means that it's doing better than we thought, right? And so we want to offer you the potential to capture that trade going forward. So we just went ahead and updated that trade zone, to this guy here. And not only did we update the trade zone to this so that you could have gotten fills on this session, we also included exactly how to play it on Monday. So I'll leave that in the end of this video, but essentially it's the same exact setup that I'm going to share with subscribers all the time, that I share with you guys all the time about how to play it, like KMX last week or 2 weeks ago, like GDX. Oh yeah, by the way, GDX, I forgot to mention that. Well, we'll get into that. I'll just refer back to it. But ETN, this setup was not like this. It was presented something like this on the pre-market. I'm sorry, no, in the because this was right on Monday, so I just shared it in the weekend video. But this is the same exact setup, right? Because this is the 8th, and so on the 8th, you can see what's happened here, right? This is the 3rd, and so the 8th is right here. Here's the Friday before the 8th. You have an inside bar after holding the highs of this prior balance area, which is exactly what I was talking about with Microsoft. That updated trade zone is the same concept of this. It's playing off of a prior structure, right? Because as long as this prior structure is holding, the buyers are going to remain in control. So for ETN, then we sent out the detailed trade idea, updated trade idea, not only the trade zone, but the exact trade idea for how to play it on Monday if the context was appropriate. If you get a strong open over the point of control on Monday, which is what you got, then we gave you this exact trade zone, and it worked perfectly. It worked quite well. Right? So the update, the video, the original idea for that update will be included at the end of this video if you want to check it out. So let's now move on to the public ideas, starting off with KMX. So if you'll recall from KMX from 2 weeks ago, we let you know there's a potential play here, seeing that this might be the daily lower high. If we get a weak open, on Tuesday, which is what we did get, that's here, we did get an open under the point of control. You do break to new highs, but the setup that is shared is, okay, well, if you don't hold over the point of control, roll back down under the open, sell that open, third stop over the high of the day, and that has shaken out quite well. I believe last week we suggested something similar for Monday the 8th, and so I just want to show you what happened, because it's not always going to be perfect. So in this situation, here, it was here, Monday the 8th, you have this open, it's under the point of control, but you do crack over it. And then again, it's a situation where you have to sell the open, right? Because you're not holding over the prior day's point of control. You roll under the open, you can sell that open, third stop over the high. And again, that idea shakes out quite well for you again. So I'm telling you, trading does not have to be complex. It can be you want it to be very, very simple, very straightforward. The complexity will come in the nuance of the context. If you are a Slack subscriber, if you're part of our chat group or whatever, then you see what I use. It's the same tool. It's the same tools, just mixed up differently here and there, depending on context. Because the tactic is always more or less the same. The session-to-session setup, that's the tactic that I like to use. So then where does the nuance come? Where does the complexity come from? It's in identifying the daily context. You know, and you can just look back at these YouTube videos and see for yourself what the performance is like. You know, like the hit rate is immense. The setups are typically very asymmetrical. You know, so immense, that's a weird way to describe a hit rate. The hit rate is good. Anyway, so KMX, if you recall from way back here, we were saying, all right, well, why is this a pretty reasonable play here looking for the daily lower high? It's because we were just rejected from this key supply. So if we're going to reject from this key supply, bigger picture, we're just doing more of this balance. So they should be trying to come back all the way to these lows. But I suggested that if you take that play there, the first place you target is this guy here. And lo and behold, we're practically there now, right? I would be surprised if these sellers didn't look to touch down on that in the next week. Doesn't have to happen, but that is definitely what they're trying to get done. And they have to trade through this and trade through all of this in order to get to where they really want to get to, which is here, where, although what they really want to get to is 0, but these are the next meaningful areas of support on the way down to 0. Okay, so that's pretty much it for KMX. If you're still in that, you can just keep walking your stop down, or if you've initiated on the Monday, your stop should be here or here. Okay, and at this point now, I don't really love new initiations on this. I would like to see what happens here. If we bounce up and reject from here, then we'll look for a very similar setup, these session-to-session setups, if the daily context is appropriate. And if you're still having problems identifying the appropriate daily context, no problem. Keep watching these videos. Consider giving us a like and subscribe if you wouldn't mind. Consider subscribing to this report, I guess. If you really want the detail and, you know, many examples, these things shared to your email, then, you know, give us a shot. So moving on to GDX here. So GDX, I just want to quickly go back and reference the Microsoft trade. So GDX, if you recall, we bought this open for the String Report subscribers on Tuesday the 28th. I just look it up, I guess. The 28th here, right? Hold on a second. 28th, let's see. 28th, we start here. Okay, bought GDX, passed back over the open after incomplete gap fill, looking to take partial profits, blah, 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 blah. And then we continue to update that trade idea here. And so again, if you want those alerts, give us a shot. That's, you know, we really do our best to try to make it as easy as possible to follow along with these trades for educational purposes only, although obviously whatever you do with that information is up to you. So anyway, the reason why I bring this up is because this setup is very similar to the Microsoft setup, where we are gapping up over a bunch of different highs. Now, Microsoft wasn't actually over the highs, but the gap was positioned really well such that they were squeezing all the sellers from these sessions. Anybody who was under this, right, all of these sellers, so from here, anybody who's a seller here, you got proven wrong on this gap. And so if they're not going to complete that gap fill, which they didn't, and then you move back over the open or just completely hold the open, that's the go sign, right? That means you're going to squeeze everybody, all the sellers out of here. So GDX is very similar to that. That context was very similar, and I don't know if Andre hit that one, but if you did hit that and you remember that, such that you were ready for it in Microsoft, that's awesome. So anyway, GDX, if you recall, last week we were looking for the potential of a bit of a bounce out of our key structure here because they held the POC 1, 2, 3 times here. But that being said, it was not a very strong looking candle. Still, if we had a strong open on Monday, I would let you guys know that that would be a pretty reasonable situation for this kind of a setup, a session-to-session setup. But you didn't get a strong open. You got to open way under the point of control, meaning we do not want to use the setup when that is the context because that's not the appropriate context. We want to see that the buyers are positioned well to move value higher by starting over the point of control. And you can see that's pretty much exactly where they have problems. Not perfectly at the point of control, but if you'll notice, you move on to another day, and that's exactly where they have problems the next day. So the market has memory, it knows where these key levels are, and that's why we always make plays off of these key levels and use our targeting off of those key levels as well. So that didn't shake out, but it's kind of setting up for it again because the sellers traded back down to the key structure's value area low. That's this guy over here. Traded all the way down to the key value area low. Didn't see follow through and now pop back over the point of control again. So if you get a strong open on Monday over it, that's pretty reasonable to be looking for that same exact play, looking for a test of this high volume area first. Really, you should be looking for a back test up here first. So the R multiple might not be that great. Well, actually, we should probably play for a gap fill. So not sure if the R multiple would be that great just getting to this target, but that's a very reasonable setup. And we're back in the original trade zone. This trade zone was shared. Oh, actually, this is the updated one. The original trade zone was this guy. Here we go. Yes, this guy. So that one's already done. So This one was just this one. Current one is just the updated one. The unofficial updated one, I think it was just shared in these public videos. So far, if you're initiating on that, if you're a scaling kind of a trader, I never discussed this for our private members, but you just kind of want to make sure that you align your entries, excuse me, when things are extended on the oscillator. So over here in the trade zone, things are extended. Okay, fair enough. They get extended again over here. Fair enough. They get extended again over here. Okay, fair enough. So you'd be just waiting to take your positions in these extended areas, or when the oscillator is extended, such like that, and then your average would be somewhere in between these fills, and then on that strength you can sell a partial into that strength, and then you lower your cost basis, throw your stop under the low, and then see what the market will give you. Okay, so that's pretty much it for GDX, so something to watch for next week for sure. And then finally, the last one we got is ARM. ARM is looking pretty interesting here. So remember, we adjusted this trade zone to be lower because this guy didn't hold. The best case scenario for ARM last week would have been for this structure to hold. Instead, this guy has held price. So I wouldn't be too surprised with some EQing here. If you want to be the most conservative, you're still just looking down here. This is the most key structure because this is the balance after this big breakout from this demand, right? So this guy is pretty much representative of whether or not these sellers have any chance at getting back in here, which is their goal. If the sellers can trade through this and they're not coming down here, if they can't close this gap, it's not a gap, but if they can't close this largely one-way trade, that would be a notable failure on their part. Excuse me. Okay, so a more conservative trader, you're still waiting down here. This is where it's cheapest to find out. But if you're a more active trader, there is potentially a daily higher low being set here at 68.19. And so again, the session to session setup is there for you. You'll notice that the value area low is pretty much exactly what made the low of the day on Friday. And so if you get a strong open on Monday over this session, then you can be using this pretty much the entire day, really, as a trade zone. Something like this makes a lot of sense. Maybe trying to get here first, this POC over here. Try to flip that back into support. Very reasonable to be looking for that daily higher low, especially because that would be 70.22, this point of control. If you get an open above here, above 69.99, that would also be an open above this point of control, 70.22. So if you're going to open above this point of control and not see acceptance under it, where are they going to try to get to first? 71.27. Let me just see where that targeting space is, 71.27. So something like this would make a lot of sense. Okay, for ARM. And then obviously if we can get risk-free on that position play and that higher low is set, ideally we'll see higher highs and then maybe continuation into all-time highs. So that's pretty much it for ARM. That was essentially a play for a weekly higher low. Okay. So that's it. Appreciate you tuning in. I will include the ETN clip at the end of this video if you want to see how we set it up before it shook out. And again, if you are interested in getting those ideas sent to your email, the updates sent to your email, the swing report, obviously you can just go to the website to access all the swing report. If you're interested in any of that, links below. Appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for sharing some of your time and energy with me, and I hope to see you soon. Farewell. ETN also came into our trade zone. Just a wee little bounce here. This daily no change level is going to be super key. This is a pretty good candidate for the session to session setup on Monday, because you got an inside bar here after breaking with no follow through. So if you do happen to get a strong open on Monday, then it's the same thing that like I was saying. Oh no, wait, I'm thinking out of order now. Basically, it's like PSX. The same idea as PSX last week. If we get a strong open above the point of control, then we can use pretty much. Well, we probably have to use this whole day, honestly, because it's pretty much all balanced. So it would be and it's very low risk. So something like this. Give it a bit of wiggle room. Something like this would be very reasonable if we get a strong open over the point of control at 234.58 on Monday for ETN. And this is potentially, it's positioned very well for more advanced. Lots of space for a weekly higher low. Monthly just got a higher low, higher high. So yeah, I still like this trade idea. PSX, so PSX